One of the best ways to look at the market as an investor or trader in today's world is to ask yourself, how will things be conducted 5 years from now? And we look for those investments that we can find right now. Today, we actually were trading in the data center market and in the oil market as well, as that's a really hot market today. But most of all, some of our positions over in the semiconductor markets are up over 500% as of today. We saw SOXL today up nearly double digits. AMD was up, and that position's over 300% return. AMDL, which is the 2x of AMD, was up another 30% today. And it's just been a very big day for not only AMD, but Supermicro Computer. We saw some strong recoveries there as they're building out the largest Colossus supercomputer with Elon. That's a fun, big project there. And then also NBIS and IREN also had big days today as well. One of the things that we're looking at in today's market isn't necessarily as blind or complicated or strategic as some people might think. You see, a lot of people are worried about the perfect timing, the perfect entries, the perfect exits, and those things are all important. But one of the best ways to build your confidence and be an investor or trader that can consistently get results, in my experience at least, has been having clear predetermined plans before you enter into positions. And so whether that means that you're looking in terms of this is the next week and the next week only, or the next, this is going to be a small margin for profit that would be something that it would reach in the next week, or you're looking for the next year or the next 5 years, it's important to have a time horizon that's aligned with your investing style. Obviously, if you were trying to trade this morning, but you're working a job, you're busy, you got things going on, you might not have seen the big dip at market or pre-market and then a big green start to the day, and then seeing massive bullish momentum kick in where there was some opportunities to take advantage of that. But even as an investor, if you know what you're doing and you're looking at these things, it could still feel confusing if you don't enter into trades with a plan. And so the short-term trading is going to require much more immediate attention than a long-term investment. You see, you're not going to plant a farm in one day and it's done, right? That's what people think is like what they're going to accomplish with short-term trading, is they're going to see the biggest result in one day and they're done. But if that was the case, short-term trading would be what every single person does. But the beauty about long-term investing is that you can mess up. You can allocate a little bit too heavy sometimes, or trim a little bit too much, or buy when it's not actually the dip, but it continues to sell down further because the time horizon that you're looking at, those are just little movements in a massive movement over the long term. When you're a short-term trader, you have to have a lot of risk tolerance. You have to be emotionally there to where you're not going to become super emotional with your decisions. And you have to be able to know exactly where you're going to enter, exactly where you're going to exit, and what you're going to do in the event that things don't go well. But things obviously have gone very well, and we see some big surges in this market. So what's the reasoning for this? Well, the reason that data center markets specifically are surging today, I believe, is because of all of the announcements that came out in the AI markets in the last week. You see, when you're looking at the earnings of the last week, with Microsoft, Google, or Apple, they're all mentioning that they plan to spend a tremendous amount of money to build out the AI infrastructure that's powering a lot of their new divisions in their companies. It's not so much heavy on robotics right now, but it is primarily in the software, talking about AI models like Gemini, ChatGPT is one that Microsoft's investing in. Elon's company, XAI, owns Grok. Meta is going to be from Zuckerberg's Meta company. They own that model. But what's interesting is all these models require a tremendous amount of computation. And not only that, we actually use these models to analyze stocks. So when we analyze a stock, we are using Grok or OpenAI, Claude or Gemini or Meta or we use all of them at once and they're all together. And that uses a lot of tokens, a lot of money. In fact, it actually uses a lot of power. And so we have to make sure that the results of what we're spending on obviously is going to yield a very good return. For example, we wouldn't be using and spending so much money on Meta or Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT or Grok if we weren't attaining, for example, 60% accuracy on the direction over the last 12,000 evaluations and projections from our models that we're pairing with all of the data that we give them, that these models, the financial data they otherwise don't have. We put that data into these models and we're achieving 63% direction accuracy with prophecy, for example. So this is our company here. If you guys ever want to tune in there, have a look there at what it is like to use these projections, all you do is just search your stock. You can get projections super easy in the first link in the description below. There has to be, a return on investment when you're using models. Otherwise, they don't make sense. Now, if you're using models for things like these companies are using them for, let's say, executive decisions, massive amounts of data analysis, the ability to process large amounts of data, kind of how we use them here, but maybe it's not for financial projections. Maybe it's for company projections, for intelligence in divisions that they're building in their companies, whatever it may be. They need the data center power, they need the data centers built, and they need the AI computation to make it happen. And they're all spending more. Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, a lot of them are spending more and more on the AI computation. Now, the problem is, and this is what's going to happen. Number one, people kind of sell off because they're saying, hey, they're spending a lot. It might be a while before they see a return. The plus side of that is all the companies that they're spending money with are going to see increased earnings, so they most likely will do well. But then we're also entering a phase right now, which is May is like usually the place where investors sell in May and go away. That's what they say, sell in May and go away. It's quite often. I don't know what it was like last May. It seems like we did okay. We kind of held bullish last May. I remember that was not too bad. But May notoriously is a time when you oftentimes see sideways market movement or even sell-offs. But what we've seen recently in the last 2-3 years is that no matter what, these markets are getting more momentum. So there's really just a few factors that could blow the tops off these stocks. Is that we don't have any more war and more turmoil happening in Iran, that we don't have any negative impacts on supply for AI. That could be a big trigger. And that we don't have any, just general, barring, let's say, disasters that happen in the US for any reason. It could be related to weather, it could be related to something else. But with the exception of those things, the conditions for the flight of these companies is tremendously smooth. You get a lot of companies like APLD, for example, or AMD that we've been anticipating big surges in and continuing this trend, very, very much based on what we were talking about today in our boardroom, in our financial boardrooms, which the conversation was the degree involved in replacing a company is what determines their economic moat. It's not going to be how much money they have. It's not going to be, their financials. Those are kind of important, but really what's super important, if there are companies reliant on specific companies, because it's hard to replace them, you could look at AMD, for example. The supply chain, very, very small of supply of GPUs. NVIDIA can't keep up. They're the number one company in the world. AMD comes along, they are supplying enough, and everybody starts buying AMD, not only because they're the other person that, or the other company offering GPUs for AI, but because they're doing other things like Starlink. They are the top provider for the microchips that are going up in the Starlink satellites, which is a 10x or 100x opportunity from Elon Musk. Supermicro computer, we've been talking about it for a little bit. They've sold off big time. They had a big recovery today. I think part of the reason why they've had such a large recovery today, up to this $33 price point, which it's almost not even rendering on this chart. Let's see if we get the render. There we go. Is that they are building the data centers for Elon, what they call the Colossus. It's called the largest supercomputer in the world. There's these companies that essentially are heavily relied on. TSSI is another good example. We were looking for this 10% increase and we see that move play out. This company is in the market of data centers, but they're in the market of configuration of all of the electronics, all of the connections. And then there's going to be some allocations to watch as well. They're getting a lot of revenue growth, and we can look at the financials. They've been quite bullish as well. TSSI, they have a very small market cap currently at around 440 million, but they've seen big surges in their assets, and their income has been rocketing up to over $300 million projected for the year, when just a moment ago they were at 27 million for the whole year. So they're really growing big time with their income. And they're one to definitely take a look at, as they have their earnings coming up on May 17th. So we're going to be following these stocks, and hopefully you are getting some value out of seeing us cover the markets. But once again, just to remember, when we're looking at the markets and looking at the predictions and looking at things, there's other external factors. You've got the Strait of Hormuz, so oil, that's going to be one. You're going to have economic conversations. Here's some other things. US take control of any part of Greenland. Sure, maybe that spins things up again. Maybe you have things related to the Fed that could massively impact things. Or let's see, Panama Canal. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But there's these things, that could potentially change the trajectory of the market very quickly. So be ready for it. But nevertheless, happy to see everybody making some money as of recently. And there's another market that's impacting AI fast too, which is called photonics, which is allowing for faster computations. And we're going to be covering them as well very soon, as there's some top photonics companies that we haven't covered yet. Let me know what companies you're watching, and if your take on the market is anything similar to what we're kind of looking at here, believing we're in a golden age. While it's volatile, things are happening fast and huge value creation is taking place almost every single day. The reality is you're going to need to build the muscle of clear risk management if you're a short-term trader because of the volatility, but then also know where you see good financials and identify quality plays for the long term, as opposed to just betting on a lot of the noise that's happening in this AI market. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. If you'd like to tune on in and watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow at market open, then I would encourage you to simply take a look at the second link in the description below. There's a huge sale there. If you've ever wanted to see my entries and my exits, it's going to be the second link in the description below, as we're there every day at market open. And I'd love to see you there tomorrow morning. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.